Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II, World at War with our Allied playthrough. In the last episode, we took on the war in the Pacific, sinking our second Japanese aircraft carrier, our final remaining aircraft carrier. Looking a little worse for wear, but we've almost caught the Congo battleship. There's another escort carrier, there's an escort carrier somewhere out here that we've yet to find. It'll probably get away. We've been hurting the I can't read these words. Light cruiser, messing that up, and also finally discovered this sub that's been stopping me from sailing the Australian fleet west to India. I really wish I did this earlier in the game, but it's okay. It's not like I have the money to manage all this shit right now. We're getting the British ships coming in. We took care of China and secured the entire island of Taiwan. Made a little bit of mistakes with the transports. That's what I do best, make mistakes. And let's see what mistakes we can make as the UK now. We have a ton of German U-boats down here. I think 3, I only see 2. I might have sank the other one. That are going to be causing us no end of problems. We're going to sail the Mohawk destroyer forward. Let's see, we do have air power that we will want to use, especially on this one that's in dock. Let's go ahead and sail around and start trying to bomb the one that's in dock. Okay, we dealt a little bit of damage to it. I don't know how strong it is. Let's go near it and figure it out. Okay, it's not too strong. It's just hard to hit it because it's in port. I think we already have range here, but I'll sail out anyway because I just want to make sure. We could do more to this, but we have enough destroyers, I think, to just go after that with the destroyers. So we're going to go ahead and try bombing the one in port some more. Really not getting some very good odds with our attempts here, unfortunately. But let's go ahead and try the U-boat that's actually out of port. It died from the attack, but it's one shot away from dead. Let's send the Javelin destroyer up. And yo-ho, what do you know? We sank that bitch. Hell yeah. Alright, cool. Now, we're not realistically going to kill this thing while it's in port, which is a sad but unfortunate truth. Let's see what I can do then. We want to stay safe with the carriers. We can't really get them moving anywhere, so we're going to just kind of sail around here. Referral belongs to Spain, so we're still just going to keep hiding where we are for now, and then get the fuck out of here later. This destroyer is pretty good to stay where it is. I mean, it's a destroyer after all. We will start sending these destroyers a little bit north to kind of guard in case that U-boat moves. Just to stay on it. We're also going to want to take the Lancaster here and move it somewhere where we may... Oh, we did encounter another submarine. Exactly the kind of shit I thought might happen. Let's go ahead and attack this submarine. It's very upgraded. No damage dealt, no damage received, but hopefully its rating will be stopped. We'll take the Castleton and move it down here to where the Lancaster is, just so we can respond to anything that might happen over there. We have the Annapolis here, which I'm going to move closer to Canada and America, just so that they can protect this route. And we'll also put... I know we have some more destroyers that need to repair. Yeah, we gotta repair the Columbia destroyer. I will make that a priority. I want to get that back up to snuff. We have the Montgomery destroyer, which appears to have almost died. I have to kind of like try to remember. It's so hard to remember everything that happens here. No more destroyers up north, right? Right. We'll take the Ass destroyer and we'll move it further down the America, Canada lines that are going this way. I'm just going to have the Canadian destroyers guarding this. I think they have 3 destroyers. It should be a perfect amount. And then all the British destroyers are going to go south and take care of this other stuff. All the other British lines heading down here. For the time being, I'm actually going to take the Hood battlecruiser out of this port. I'm going to send the Formidable carrier up there instead, because I have another destroyer I found. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm actually going to send the Bulldog north into port, where it'll be able to repair. I'm going to send the Jersey to go take its place down here since it's full strength. Let's go on land for a moment to take a look at Brest and what we have here. We're going to upgrade the Rupert Special Forces with Infantry Weapons 2. Very important upgrade to be getting. Very something we want on all of our troops here. The 1st Corps from the BEF is going to swap onto the front here and take the minuscule entrenchments facing down the enemy corps at St. Malo, because I want to take the... Oh my god, if I swap, I can still upgrade. Holy crap, I did not know that. If I did know that, I forgot it. I'm going to upgrade this with infantry weapons 2 and also some mobility, even though that's pretty expensive. I want things deployed in Europe, the British things here, to have this, because the Brits themselves don't have massive forces, and the Germans are spending on it, and I can see why. Once these things get mobile, we're going to want this ability. The French partisans are not going to have the ability to get that strong, and we also don't really have the ability right now to keep bombing, because our actual air forces here are in disarray. We've been using them for so long without repairing them. There's a lot of things we have to manage. I'm going to turn my attention down to Ethiopia here for a moment, just because that's going to be easier for me to deal with right now. The first corps from South Africa can deal some amazing damage over here to the Graziani HQ on Bonga, so we're going to go ahead and attack that. We dealt 5 damage right out of the gate. Sadly, the BAI army cannot get into the hills, so we'll move the South African one into the hills instead. The Sudan Defense Force Corps can move into the hills here. So we'll move it, and it can deal 2 damage to the HQ. We actually dealt 3. We took 1. I guess you win some, you lose some, huh? We'll take the BAI army, move it forward, and attack. And there you go. The HQ at Bonga is dead. We now need to actually secure Bonga, and that's like the last thing that we don't technically own / like have taken back for Abyssinia, which, by the way, I looked at Abyssinia, Ethiopia. This is a major win. It can secure us 2 more corps, 2 cavalry corps, and 3 garrisons. That's awesome. No HQs, unfortunately. And these African ones seem really picky about wanting to only support their own men. Don't know why. But there you have it. We've done it. I do want to secure this, so we'll go move the 2nd Corps here onto Bonga. I don't know if that's going to secure all this as well. I guess it doesn't necessarily matter because none of this stuff actually gives anything. The most important thing to get out of all this would be supply, I guess. At this point, what we'll want to do, assuming we're not keeping any of this in Italy, or Libya now, our Libya occupied, is we're going to want to get this in boats. I believe we can still sail through the Suez, but the Italians can't, because all this stuff I pretty much have earmarked to go to Greece to reinforce the Greeks themselves and the Brits there. In Greece, speaking of, the Panzers are continuing their rampage. They're so well upgraded, and because they also have the armored warfare, which the British tanks do not have, unfortunately the Soviet tanks do not have, because I didn't realize how important that was. Oh, aerial warfare is also what allows strategic bombers to do the same thing. Also didn't know that shit. There's a lot of shit that I wish I knew at the beginning of this. Again, that's why it's my learning playthrough. I'm not saying that as an explanation, by the way. The learning playthrough nonsense I keep repeating. I'm saying that to comfort myself. We are not hurting these panzers. Look at these panzers. They've moved forward. They have a little bit of XP. They're at 8 strength. You'd think we might be able to hurt them with no entrenchment, but unfortunately, this army cannot hurt them. This corps cannot hurt them. This corps cannot hurt them. This army cannot hurt them. We'd have to bombard them. So all we can do is hurt what's around them instead. And we have massive morale problems right now with the Macedonian army up north here. It's scary. We are going to need to replace this somehow, and it's going to have to be some kind of a corps. The things up here really need a chance to get to upgrade as well. It's unfortunate we really haven't gotten a chance to do that, and we're so just stuffed here with units. We can only swap in one direction. So getting units in a good spot here is going to be a little difficult. Our supply on the British plains here is so nerfed, as well as like on the HQ, and I just don't know why. But it's pretty brutal. There's these red hexes that I don't know what they mean, and this isn't even red, but like it's nerfed to all hell to the point where utilizing stuff down there is very difficult. So I do have to make room. It means I have to get this off the front, and ideally replace it with something that can hold its own. This will be a little risky, so I'm going to take this desert anti-tank. I'm going to move it northeast across the river here into the field, which may lure the panzers out here, but hopefully this corps can kind of keep them away. Macedonian army is going to run behind the anti-tank. This should hopefully allow it to repair, get its morale back, and get some upgrades that it desperately needs. Now, we're going to take the first corps and move that up into these fortifications. That will give us the same 2 that the army just had, but with really high morale, infantry weapons 2, which should hopefully help. quite a bit. Now, to actually stare down the enemy tank, which is dealing what kind of damage? I guess tank damage, yeah. So what has the best resistance to tank damage here? This core has 3 with its current upgrades, and this tank has 5. Although the readiness and morale difference between them due to how fucked up these tanks got is very different. Whatever steps into this mountain's probably going to get pretty messed up because the tank's just going to brutalize it since its entrenchments are going to be like nil. I'll send the core forward first to try to let the tanks continue recovering morale. I'll send the tanks forward so that they're close by and near the HQ and hopefully in some decent supply. Yeah, we have no entrenchment here, so this is gonna hurt when this tank comes after us. The best thing that we can do up here, in my opinion, is to keep pushing westwards with the units we have available. That northern front in the northeast needs to hold. The Greeks need to keep holding that while the Brits do other things, ideally. Namely, if we can't hurt the tank, we can hurt the damn Italians flanking the tank and keeping everything behind it safe. These Albanian corps do have entrenchment level 3. We have 2 shells in the desert field artillery, so we're going to go ahead and start shelling it. I don't think we're really going to have much room for defensive fire here, but look, we can start doing damage now. So we're going to go ahead and attack with the WDF army, first and foremost. Dealt 1 damage instead of the advertised 2, which is very sad. I would like an opportunity to get the WDF army some upgraded weapons. So I will swap it off the line here, and we'll move up the 2nd Greek Corps into its entrenchments, losing a little bit of that entrenchment because they have infantry weapons too. We're going to go ahead and attack with that Greek Corps, dealing another 1 damage, not taking any. These special forces are not in a very good situation. But we'll go ahead and attack with the special forces next. Got to keep up the momentum against the Greeks. Oh, damn, taking 2 damage. That's way more than it said we were going to take, unfortunately. At this point, the first garrison of Greece can honestly just get the hell out of this region. It's not needed, and in fact, it's just going to start getting in the way. We can't really get these special forces out of here. Well, we can, but we don't necessarily want to give that hex up. On the front here, with this Italian group having moved up with no entrenchment, it's really hard to not step out of my entrenchments with the Epirus army. So I think I will and try to deal damage to that. We dealt the 3 advertised damage and did not take the 1 damage it said we'd receive, which is fantastic. The 1st Corps just got here. We'll go ahead and attack the same enemy Italian Corps. They are the weak link, dealing the 2 advertised damage and unfortunately taking 1 damage. However, with the infantry weapons level 2, it should be able to hold off in these entrenchments against whatever might attack it from the north. The Italians are the weak link, the German panzers are the danger. And if we can break through the Italians, the panzers can't hold by themselves. They'll have to retreat or be encircled as we overwhelm them. While I can't reinforce the Desert Air Force fighters, I can upgrade them finally with long-range aircraft. I've been waiting to do that for a very long time. Way over down here by Australia, I will take the Vendetta destroyer that I have upgraded and move it forward to go meet the enemy Japanese submarine and attack it to assist the American submarine that's come to help, dealing 2 damage and taking 1. Pretty good trade-off. Everything else is just going to stay here right now because it's very, very hard to actually get anything and everything up to snuff here. We'll send the battleship down southwest over here. The submarine will go to Madras, and the carrier will stay at Calcutta where it's safe. As the UK, it is very, very important now that we are no longer funding the Soviet Union to invest. We've been very stretched thin, and something that can help with our stretched thinness is to keep upgrading industrial technology, as that will continue to upgrade the amount of MPPs that we earn. So I'm going to go ahead and put 125 into that. That leaves me with 136, and everything I put into research, I will not be able to put into any more battlefronts. However, we have already covered the essentials. Trying to think long-term of what the UK is capable of and what it's doing right now, I want to put more points into research or diplomacy, because both of these are going to be very vital to me. Both of them have caps as well. We've been finishing a lot of technology as the Brits, is another thing to keep in mind. I will go ahead and start researching the production technology again to level 3 to further reduce all of our upgrade costs, all of our new unit costs, and get our total research funding closer up to the cap, which we've been like half of for the longest time. The US is ahead of us, the UK, is it us? It's all us. So they should share their progress, which would help make this faster as well. I do want to keep putting diplomacy into Finland. Helsinki. I don't know why they're not in the allies already. I don't know what they're Helsinking. Yeah, I just did that. Anyway, I have a couple more things to do. Let's go look at Abyssinia. As I was saying, we do need to get moving. I think I'll just move right to the ports and transport, because I don't plan on attacking Vichy. I kind of looked it up. I don't know if I've talked about it here, but I asked questions. I found out Operation Torch, there's no event for it. You have to do it yourself. The AI is scripted to do it. The AI can also be scripted to do Case Anton. But as a player, you have to do these things yourself. Now, what is the point of attacking the Vichy African countries down here? Well, we would get a very quick jump point into Italy. Do we need that? Well, wiping out Italy could be great. Underbelly of Europe, you know? However, who the hell is going to fund that? The UK is pouring a fuck ton of stuff into Greece. We have a front in Greece and it's working well, and since it's mostly defended by Italians, we can beat up the Italians here and start pushing, and if we can open up further after getting the Indians and all the African colony units that we have over here up here, and maybe even getting more to make the most out of their HQs, we can open a gigantic front that even Germany has to deal with that is not as thin as Italy. We're going to have the troops to do it, while also maintaining a small front over here in Brest. That's crazy. America is entirely focusing the Pacific, and otherwise just dumping MPPs into the UK and the Soviet Union. Therefore, there's no point to doing Operation Torch. I know it's still like, we're at the beginning of the year, Operation Torch is at the end of the year, but I see no point to it. And I don't think the Germans or Italians are going to threaten anything over here anytime soon. So we need to get units moving north more than anything. I want to make sure these HQs can support the units on their way out, the ones that are actually related to units. The Indians can definitely go get ahead of everything. However, if we have a chance to reinforce some Indians here, I'm going to take it. The Gurkha Special Forces. The artillery is going to take forever to get where it's going, so we'll just go force march it north. I think we'll just depart everything from Massawa, so we can just transport directly up to Greece, is what we'll do. So we'll start sending that. This HQ will also stay nearby just to keep everyone here in supply so that they can escape and reinforce and all that good fun shit on their way out. We do still have this unit here. I made the decision to not send it north, but we do have enough MPPs to actually give it infantry weapons too. Very useful. I'll go spend down to 1 MPP to get that ready. As with the Italians faltering, even with the Germans pushing, I see a good chance to overwhelm this. And if we overwhelm this, the Germans should be convinced to take men off of the USSR's front so the UK can help the USSR without even really investing much over there. Once again, I've been able to just invest little to nothing into the Pacific, which is unfortunate. However, we will be able to do that more later. We do have the DEI sub still around. We're not going to be able to hurt this enemy carrier with that much ASW. So we got to get this moving home, getting somewhere safe, somewhere that has supply. Let's see. This doesn't have much supply, but we'll send it up to Fort Blair and hopefully further somewhere with more supply later. This DEI sub is going to join up with our fleet. Hopefully, eventually, we'll get some semblance of a British Pacific fleet, but with the Americans fully dedicated to the Pacific, I think they can help fill in the slack to make up for the fact that I've just left the Australian and New Zealand navies so far away from a good source of supply. It's a shame supply down here is so bad, but oh well, what are you gonna do? Looks like the South African Corps that took Banga can actually move north, so I guess we can do that. We can also try to head southeast to like claim more land here. There's like some cleanup operations here, and I don't know if I actually care to do it, just because the only thing it'll really affect is supply. If we end up getting any Abyssinian troops, they can also do it, and it wouldn't really matter. There's no units over there, so we'll just head northeast for the time being. Nothing else down here can move. India did finish their production technology research, so we do have the capability to invest more into their research. We have 139 MPPs. We are creating a new paratrooper unit for them, and we'll get an HQ and a special forces this year for them. Let's go ahead and invest in the production technologies. The higher this gets, the faster we can upgrade our units and make more units and all that fun stuff. Now to the USSR. The first thing we're going to want to do is find anyone on the front that needs reinforcements and go ahead and reinforce them. Morale is holding in a lot of places. This army is having some trouble with morale, but otherwise, It's not doing so bad. The German advance is getting a little slow. There's now mud in Ukraine, and up north there's snow. Their advance here has been very slow. I'm guessing they have no troops against the marshes, but if they didn't have any troops over here, I'd be really surprised. This doesn't look like it's everything they have. We do, unfortunately, have the 3rd Army down here at Minsk, which is not holding on as well. The morale is getting pulverized by the German armor. Now, I don't want to necessarily lose this army if it can actually escape. It unfortunately cannot get all the way. Well, actually, can we operate? Oh, we can operate it. I was gonna say, we can't force march it. We don't have the capability to do that. But rather than just have this army get pulverized and probably killed very soon, given its low readiness and morale, and given that the snow is still on our side, I'm thinking we operate this army to safety and invite the Germans to start advancing up to our defensive line, which will soon hopefully become an offensive line. So we're going to want to operate that away, not super far or anything, somewhere in the same region at the very least. We'll go ahead and put it just behind Smolensk, near the HQ that's over there. We have a force ready to advance, but we probably don't want to be too quick about it. If we are too quick about it, we could run into a terrible situation potentially, and I'd rather be safe than sorry. We do have some very elite armies in the rear here that I wish to start utilizing, and I have, I think, the perfect idea of how to utilize them. We have 4. Oh god. This is very, very strong stuff. Alright. Some of them can still be upgraded, like the 1st Guards Army still needs some AA defense. Actually, they all still need AA defense. Damn. Okay, well, I'm going to get them with AA defense because I need them soon. If we get these on the front, that front will become a lot harder for the Germans to do anything at. Give everything here, even the heavy tanks. AA defense, AA defense, AA defense. The HQ is just going to stay here for now to keep supply over here not terrible. Just so we can make sure everything can operate away. Supply over here is really good. Do we have any upgrades? No, but the 3rd Red Fighters can get some elite reinforcements, so we'll go ahead and do that. Have attack bombers just start flying past them. I'm still flying these just in case actually operating them turns out to just be a terrible idea. Well, you know what? Honestly, the supply over here is good enough just due to this railroad and all the villages around here. Yeah, so I need to get this HQ moving. The Zhukov HQ, rating 9. This is just my best commander in the game, and I know where I want him. I'm going to operate him 35 MPPs. I want him on the south here, helping hold everything down here. I'm going to place him in... Oh, I can't place him right there. That's unfortunate. So I will place him right behind the line here, because I'm going to be putting up a big defense soon. This stuff in Sevastopol won't even need to be here momentarily. But I will be able to operate him out down south, I think. Should I need to? At least I can run him down. I'm not too concerned, really. But I do need more HQs down here one way or another. I just don't know how far south I want to commit him. This is probably safer. But I have ideas. And I think I'll take the risk of bringing him all the way down here. So he can start reinforcing units that are down south. Because I'm going to be getting a lot of units coming down here. Naturally, we're going to want some defense against enemy air coverage down here to protect this HQ. So I'm going to take the Kiev fighters. And I'm going to fly them down south where they will be able to hopefully do some stuff. I'll also take the 121st medium bombers and put them kind of in this region as well. I'm not sure exactly where I want them. Yeah, these fighters can cover pretty much everything from where they are. What is the range on these bombers for you? Medium bombers, strike range of 6. So if I was here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Couldn't quite reach anything on the front. Don't know if we even want to. I'll fly them up here against the ocean where they'll still be safe. And next to an HQ, their supply should be more than fine. I will take the 17th garrison and move it back to this town where it can defend. I will swap the 7th army onto this town so it can maintain the entrenchments, because this is going to be a pretty important location to defend. I wish I had armies on all of these. I'm still trying to free some armies up. We did finish some tech as the USSR. We want to keep that tech going, especially this indie tech, so that they can continue to make more and more stuff for themselves. 175 MPPs, I will go ahead and research in that. Probably not going to do as much of a commitment as I just did with the UK in terms of amount allocated, because we still need a lot of stuff going towards other things here. Since Poltosk is in no immediate danger, I'm going to take the army on it and I'm going to operate it over here to... I can't read white on white text. Holy crap. I'm going to operate it there very far in the front, as you can see. I'm also going to take the Leningrad army, the 14th army. Actually, no, this is... I forgot which one was on Leningrad, but I'm going to operate that away down to right here. They're going to go sit on the cities. They're not going to have entrenchments, but I'm kind of planning on pushing my line forward here, and this is a vital part of doing it. We are going to take the 11th army and actually move it back to Poltavsk just to either maintain it in case they push forward in that direction, or just to get us on the railroad so we can jump forward if need be. Either way, this is still a vital location to defend. I'll take these heavy tanks, the first shock heavy tanks, and I'm going to move them up along the road here on the far side. Okay, we can see a German cavalry decision, so they do have units up here. These are Hungarians. Their troops here just may not be the greatest. Either way, we're going to want to move with caution instead of just running directly down there. We'll take the first tanks here, and we'll move them up into this forest right here to form this line. We have another German cavalry division. So we got an idea of what's around here anyway. We're going to want to maintain a pretty strong front here so we could swap things out as we need to. So I'll take the first mechanized here, and I'm going to drive them up to just behind all this, as these mechanized units will be very, very handy in making sure they can't blast through here regardless of what they have. The light tanks are going to push forward, so they're pretty agile, I believe. They can respond to any threats over here, but they won't be as strong. The 5th tanks are going to want to move up with the rest of everybody. However, we do need to maintain our own defenses here. So we're going to want to probably keep them behind the river, where they can still support the shock heavy tanks, right by Riga. We do have this corps that can move forward, but not a lot of space to use them. So I'll take this corps and I'll move it forward into this forest, where they can start entrenching and defend from behind the river. And with the armored train, we still have enough here to actually just guard without moving anything else forward if we don't want to. I think I will do that. We'll be able to free up more land units for this northern side anyway, and we're kind of filling the region up as is. So we're going to take that on the rails just behind this fortified town, just so we can respond to anything that might happen here, and also keep something behind the river, our main defensive line. With the corps we moved off of this town, we're going to move it down here just so it's on the rail line, just in case. And now comes the expensive, yet hopefully really helpful shit I was planning on doing. I want to make it so this road doesn't fall. If this road doesn't fall, look at Odessa's morale. Despite being under siege, Odessa might hold if we can form a really strong front there right now. Unfortunately, you know, my mechanized don't have the upgrades they need because I'm dumb and I waste and I make mistakes. But we're going to operate this mechanized right up there to the front. We're going to operate this mechanized right up there to the front. You see what I'm doing here? Finally, I'll operate this mechanized right up to the front. Very expensive stuff, but making this strong front line of mechanized on the other side could really help with the defenses we have here, slow them down, and allow us to maybe get a little offensive down south. I'm not sure yet. But we do have the Stalingrad Corps here, hiding behind the river. I don't think there's necessarily anyone that we want to free up. I don't know what we're going to do with the paratroopers. They can't move very easily, but we'll start moving them along the road either way. The mud is slowing them down. They don't have the range to deploy anywhere over here that matters, but if we push them up towards the front, that might at least be a little bit useful. I think I'll move the Stalingrad Corps across the river here is what I'll do. I'll have these light tanks move up just a touch while we go ahead and run these rifle corps forward into better positions. I have some more corps back here to operate. I will operate one forward. Not the best positions, to be honest. Really not. Realizing, okay, I'm going to move the army off of this town. Forget about what I was doing here before. I'm going to move it off there, which means we can actually move you up here to cover this part of the river, which is good, because then we can operate one of these corps in just behind you. Hell, we can operate 2 of them in just behind you, which is going to allow them the ability to respond rapidly to anything around here and form this, as you see, massive giant front that the Germans are quite frankly never going to get to. Man, not attacking the USSR was a huge mistake for them. I'm going to move the Voroshilov HQ forward. Ideally, I want to end up basing it out of Riga. It just can't get that far just yet. We don't have mobility upgrades on it. I don't even think we have mobility yet. I don't want to send everything off to these flanks, so I'll take this rifle corps, move it forward in the center, same thing with this one, but still on the railroads so that they can reinforce these locations if need be. We do want to reinforce the 1st Red Fighters as it did take some damage. The Western Fighters here could do with some reinforcement as well to try to get them on the front soon. We need some more fighter power if we're really going to cover this entire front. Another perfect example of that is the Baltic Fighters up north. Going to spend very heavily on that. That leaves us with 11 MPPs. 11 MPPs doesn't leave me a lot of room to do very much of anything, So what I'll do is I'll move this core onto Leningrad just for the hell of it, the mechanized onto this city as well. We will have to deploy a new unit, actually. It's going to be down here. Oh yeah, one thing I was going to do was maybe send the special forces up north to Port Moresby. I guess that's not happening now. We'll take this third corps out of here because it doesn't need to be here. We'll deploy the new second corps down here. I just keep ignoring the Pacific on accident. We'll probably just let Port Moresby fall, quite frankly. If they get there next turn, they get their next turn, I'll let it fall. If they don't get their next turn, hopefully I remember to get something over there at the very last second, you know? Because I probably will be able to send 2 things over there now if I keep my eye on it. But that's probably all we're doing for this turn. And so that's all we're going to be doing for this episode. Before I hit end turn next time, I'll make sure to take a peek to make sure I didn't miss anything. But for now, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'm excited to see you on the next one.